It was supposed to be the perfect night. The opening weekend of one of the most anticipated films of the year. Tickets sold out in minutes, and somehow I managed to grab two. The air buzzed with excitement as people lined up. Popcorn in hand. Phones silenced. Hearts pounding. But then, she walked in. Karen. And my God, she didn't just walk in. She stormed in like a hurricane with a vendetta. Ugh, do you all seriously think this movie's worth the hype? She barked, her voice slicing through the soft murmur of the crowd. Heads turned. Whispers rippled like wind through tall grass. I froze. My jaw clenched. Was this really happening? She wasn't just late. She was yelling fake spoilers. Yes, you heard me. Fake spoilers. Oh my God. I can't believe the hero dies in the first scene. She shouted, cackling like she just won the lottery. Gasps filled the room. Someone dropped their soda with a thud. A guy a few rows behind me muttered, "Is she serious?" I gripped my armrest so hard my knuckles turned white. It felt like she detonated a bomb right in the middle of our anticipation. The lights dimmed. The trailers started, and still she went on. Mocking. Laughing. Tossing out one ridiculous spoiler after another. The villain is actually the hero's dog. Didn't see that coming. Her shrill laugh echoed like nails on a chalkboard. My chest tightened. Why would someone do this? Was she bored? Lonely? Just cruel? I looked around. People's faces were caught between fury and disbelief. The theater wasn't dark yet, so I could see it all. The father covering his kid's ears. The teenager clutching her hoodie tight. The couple whispering, "Just ignore her." But ignoring Karen was like ignoring a tornado in your living room. Impossible. I wanted to yell back, to shut her down. My lips parted. But I hesitated. What if she turned it on me? What if I became her target? My stomach churned. Then came the sigh. Long. Shaky. Heavy. Couldn't take this. Nobody could. And just when I thought the nightmare might calm down, she cranked it up a notch. She marched down the aisle, arms wide, spinning in circles like some deranged ringmaster. Guess what? The villain wins. The end. Show's over. The audience groaned in unison, a guttural wave of frustration. Someone booed. Another voice yelled, "Shut up already." But Karen thrived on the chaos. You could see it in her grin, the way her eyes sparkled like she was feeding on our anger. She was the queen of disruption, and we were her unwilling subjects. Then, twist number one. A deep, booming voice thundered from the back. "Ma'am, sit down." Everyone craned their necks. Security. The tall, broad-shouldered man in a black polo stepped forward, flashlight in hand. Relief washed over me, like cool rain on burning skin. Finally, justice. But Karen, she laughed. She actually laughed in his face. "Oh, please, what are you gonna do? Ban me from this one theater? Honey, I'll just go to another." She flicked her hand like he was some annoying mosquito. My heart thumped. Was she taunting security? The guard didn't flinch. He walked closer, steady, deliberate. The room went silent. The only sound, the faint crackle of popcorn bags and Karen's heavy breathing. My palms sweated. What was about to happen? "Ma'am, this is your final warning. Sit down, or you're out." His voice was steel, unshakable. Karen puffed up like a balloon ready to burst. "You think you can tell me what to do? This is a free country. I paid good money for this ticket." She shook her crumpled stub in his face like it was a royal decree. And then, the irony, the twist nobody saw coming. The manager appeared. A short woman in a crisp blazer. Her face carved with the kind of calm that hides a storm. She whispered something to the guard, then turned to Karen. "You didn't pay for this ticket. That stub. It's from last week's children's matinee." The crowd erupted. Gasped. Snickers. A sharp, Collective OH rippled like thunder through the room. Karen's face drained of color, then flushed beet red. She sputtered, words tangling in her throat. That's not. But it was. The manager raised an eyebrow. Not only are you disrupting tonight's screening, but you attempted to sneak in. That's trespassing. Boom. There it was. Karma. Served hot and fast. My chest swelled. My heart soared. Oh, how sweet it felt. Karen, though, didn't surrender. No. She doubled down, her voice cracking but still loud. You can't do this. I'll sue. I know my rights. She jabbed a finger toward the audience. And you. Her gaze swept the rows. You're all sheep. Laughing at me now. But you'll thank me later when you realize this movie sucks. Booing thundered back at her. Someone clapped sarcastically. Another shouted. Just leave already. The sound was electric. A wave crashing against her fragile facade. The guard stepped in. Ma'am, let's go. His hand hovered near her elbow. Not touching yet. Just waiting. Karen jerked away, screeching. Don't touch me. This is harassment. And then, twist two. The phone. A young guy in the front row had been recording the entire thing. His screen glowed. The red recording dot blinking like an eye. Karen spotted it. She lunged. Delete that. She shrieked, swiping at his phone. The audience gasped. The guy stumbled back. The phone slipped, clattering to the floor. That was it. The final straw. The guard grabbed her arm. Not rough, but firm. Controlled. She shrieked like a banshee. Legs kicking. Voice echoing through the theater. Help! I'm being assaulted. Her wails pierced the air. Shrill and desperate. But here's the kicker. As the guard escorted her out, the manager followed close behind. Speaking into a walkie. I caught her words. Put her on the blacklist. Every cinema in the city. Effective immediately. The crowd froze. Did we hear that right? Every cinema. The weight of it sank in. Karen wasn't just getting tossed from this theater. She was banned forever. The cheers erupted like fireworks. Applause. Laughter. Whoops of victory. People stood, clapping, high-fiving strangers. My chest vibrated with the sound, with the release of tension, with sheer, delicious vindication. Karen thrashed, her face twisted with rage and disbelief. You can't do this. I'll call my lawyer. But her words drowned under the roar of justice. The theater doors slammed behind her with a resounding thud. Silence settled. The lights dimmed fully. The movie began. But I couldn't focus. Not at first. My mind replayed it all. The chaos. The lies. The fall. The way she thought she was untouchable. Only to be stripped bare in front of hundreds. I almost pitied her. Almost. Then I remembered the fear. The ruined anticipation. The kid who'd nearly cried at her shouting. No. She earned it. Every last bit of it. And here's the twisted epilogue. Later that week, the video hit social media. Yep. The guy's recording went viral. Karen's meltdown. Her fake spoilers. Her banshee shriek. It all played out on millions of screens across the world. The comments were brutal. Memes sprouted overnight. She became the internet's new punchline. One top comment read, "Imagine losing access to every movie theater over a fake spoiler tantrum. Peak Karen." Another, "The dog was the villain all along. Karen was right." Followed by 100 laughing emojis. And me. I sat back, popcorn in hand, scrolling, grinning. Sometimes karma doesn't just knock. It broadcasts live in HD. Thank you for listening to this wild story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more crazy Karen tales. The yoga studio was supposed to be a peaceful place. Instead, the air that morning was thick with tension before class even began. 3 women in matching pastel leggings barged in, one of them already yelling, "We only do yoga to Taylor Swift, this is America." Heads turned, eyebrows raised. The instructor, Melody, barely had time to blink before the oldest of the trio, platinum blonde Bob, oversized sunglasses still on indoors, pointed a manicured finger and barked, "Change the playlist, or we walk, and we will sue for emotional trauma." Someone in the back scoffed. Melody stepped forward calmly, her voice soft but steady. "I understand your preference, but we keep things instrumental to help focus." "Oh, please," snapped the younger one, maybe mid-20s, clutching her pink Stanley tumbler like a threat. "We paid. This is our experience. I know my rights." That's when things started unraveling. A woman near the front, maybe in her early 40s, short auburn curls, calm demeanor, turned and said with a sigh, "You're ruining it for everyone. It's yoga, not a concert." Silence for half a second. Then chaos. The youngest sister stomped forward, eyes wild. "Don't speak to me like that, you old cow." Gasps echoed around the studio. Mats schuffled. The auburn-haired woman stood slowly, unrolling her shoulders. "Try that again, sweetheart." And bam. The middle sister, the one who hadn't said much till now, shoved the woman square in the chest. Hard. The sound of the body hitting the mirror wall was sharp. A collective inhale. Someone dropped their water bottle with a clang. Melody ran over. "Absolutely not. You just assaulted a client." "No, she started it." The middle sister screamed, suddenly flushed, lips trembling. "She threatened me. She's probably not even a real member." "She's a doctor," someone muttered from the back. "A cancer doctor." That made the Karen sisters pause. For exactly 2 seconds. "Lies!" The oldest one shrieked. "We know what's going on. This place is shady. Probably insurance fraud." She pulled out her phone. "I'm calling the police and a lawyer. This studio is finished." Melody looked like she might faint. "Please step outside." But the sisters wouldn't budge. Instead, the middle one, the one who shoved, leaned over the injured woman, who was now sitting against the mirror, rubbing her ribs. "You want a lawsuit? You're about to get one." The woman just looked up, her voice tight. "You have no idea who you just hit." The studio door banged open. 2 off-duty officers, regulars in the class, stepped in with their gym bags slung low and their expressions sharp. "You're done," said the male officer, pulling out a badge. "Assault, verbal harassment, disturbance of business. Put your hands where we can see them." The sisters froze. Then the youngest burst out, "This is a setup. You're all in on this. I'm rich. My husband's a developer." The female officer raised an eyebrow. "That won't stop charges, ma'am." The older Karen tried to explain something about forged documentation for Melody's business license. A secret, she claimed to know. A bizarre conspiracy about Taylor Swift royalties and class playlists. None of it made sense. It was like watching a dramatic reality show go off-script in the worst way. Melody blinked, still shocked. "That's not even remotely true." The middle Karen was already crying. "This is so unfair. We were defending ourselves." But no one bought it. The class had witnessed it all. Phones had recorded it. The woman against the mirror? She'd already texted someone. Her husband, apparently. And he wasn't just a cancer surgeon. He was the legal counsel for a major health corporation. The lawsuit papers came the next morning. Not just one, but 2. One for assault. One for defamation. And Melody? She filed a 3rd intentional disruption of business and emotional damage. Turns out the sisters had a history. Other yoga studios, spin classes, book clubs, a bizarre pattern of tantrums, entitlement, and even faked medical episodes. One instructor even had emails of them forging complaints to try and get free memberships. It was a trail of petty chaos. But this time, they messed with the wrong woman. And now, they were trending not for their toned abs or TikTok routines, but for screaming, Play Cruel Summer or We're Calling the Cops. While being handcuffed, you could hear the handcuffs click in the videos. The comments section went wild. Is this yoga or Judge Judy? She hit a doctor over music? Taylor Swift did not endorse this behavior. The internet didn't forget. Neither did the courts. And while they tried to backpedal, crying in a public statement, claiming they were emotionally triggered by certain songs, due to childhood trauma, the damage was done. The best part? The assaulted woman never raised her voice, never laid a finger. She let the Karen swing first, and then the law swung back harder. The courtroom was packed. Local news cameras hovered just outside the glass doors, and the Karen sisters sat at the defendant's table looking like they hadn't slept in weeks. Their matching pastel tones had been replaced with stiff navy blazers and tight-lipped lawyers whispering nervously behind them. And then came the real twist. During cross-examination, Melody's attorney unveiled something unexpected: a series of emails traced back to the sisters' IP address. It turned out they'd been coordinating fake Yelp reviews, editing screenshots of harassment by instructors, and even impersonating former students to file bogus complaints with health departments. The judge adjusted her glasses slowly. Are you aware that these actions amount to not only defamation, but organized digital fraud? The oldest sister stammered. We were expressing opinions. The judge leaned forward. Forged documents. Fake accounts. That's not opinion, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen on 10 different fronts. And that's exactly what came next. They weren't just ordered to pay damages to Melody and the assaulted woman, they also faced a civil lawsuit from a yoga studio chain they'd previously tried to sabotage using the same tactics. 2 of the sisters were slapped with permanent restraining orders from entering any group fitness facility in the county. The third? She was placed on probation and fined for tampering with evidence. And Melody? Her little studio now had a 6-month wait list. The story had gone viral. Even Taylor Swift's team had issued a statement. We love when fans enjoy our music respectfully. The best part? The woman who got hit? She donated the lawsuit settlement to a wellness scholarship for low-income cancer patients. That, she said outside the courthouse, is what healing actually looks like. Karma had done a full, glorious backbend. And the Karen sisters? They learned the hard way that entitlement doesn't stretch as far as they thought. For more real, jaw-dropping HOA and Karen drama stories like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You don't want to miss the next lawsuit. They didn't just ruin the party, they shoved kids, screamed about regulations, and called the cops on a sweet 16 in a public park. But what they didn't expect, the real law was already there, sitting quietly with a cupcake in hand. It was supposed to be a chill, sunny Saturday at Fernwood Park. You know, one of those golden afternoons where everything feels like it might just be okay for a while. Bree, my niece, had been planning her sweet 16 for months. Pink balloons tied to trees, a rented speaker bumping clean versions of top hits, a few fold-out tables of cupcakes and soda cans. No alcohol, no mess, no reason for anyone to complain. Except, enter the Karen sisters. We saw them stomping across the grass like twin thunderclouds in floral capri pants. I kid you not, even the birds flew off. The taller one, the one with the leopard print visor and oversized sunglasses, shouted before she was even in range. Who authorized this? You ever get that icy feeling in your gut? That sense that something's about to go real wrong, real fast? Yeah, I got that the second she pointed at the speaker like it had personally insulted her. We live right across the street and this is unacceptable, the other one barked. Shorter, stockier, with a voice like she'd swallowed a blender on high speed. You are destroying the tranquility of this neighborhood. I tried to stay calm. Ma'am, this is a public park. We have a permit. That was my first mistake. Reasoning with a Karen? That's like tossing water on a grease fire. Permit? The taller one sneered. Oh, honey, I was on the HOA board for 7 years. I know exactly how this works. No one gets a permit without our input. My eye twitched. Again, this isn't private property. This park belongs to the city. But by then they were already marching toward the teens. One of them grabbed a paper plate out of a kid's hand and threw it on the ground. Littering. That's a citation. My niece Bree was frozen, holding a balloon string, mouth slightly open. Her best friend Jules, bless her brave little soul, stepped forward and said, "Hey lady, we're literally just having cake. Back off." Boom. That did it. The shorter Karen shoved Jules, actually pushed a 17-year-old girl in broad daylight. Couldn't believe my eyes. "Oh, nope," I muttered and yanked out my phone. That's when a twist of fate that still makes me smirk kicked in. Because guess who else was there? Blending into the crowd like just another parent? My brother, Officer Darnell Hayes. Now, Darnell was in plain clothes. He looked like any other middle-aged dad, hoodie and all. But as soon as he saw Jules get shoved, he rose from his fold-up chair with the grace of a lion stretching before the pounce. "All right, that's assault," he said calmly. The Karen sisters both froze. I swear I could hear a squirrel blink somewhere. The taller one whipped around. "Excuse me." Darnell flipped open his badge wallet so smoothly, it was like a movie scene. "You're excused. Now put your hands where I can see them." Their faces. Their faces. I wish I could have bottled the expression pure panic mixed with entitlement denial. They started shouting over each other. "I didn't touch her. She was threatening us. They were playing gang music. My blood pressure is skyrocketing. The park is supposed to be quiet." Meanwhile, Bree, still holding her balloon, whispered, "Is this really happening?" "Oh, it's happening," I whispered back, biting into a cupcake. "And it's being filmed from 3 angles. Because, oh yes, teens were already live-streaming. Karen gets cuffed at Sweet 16 was trending before Darnell even finished reading them their rights. But then came the next twist, and it was delicious. As Darnell tried to detain the shorter one, she lunged at him. Not fast, mind you, more like a waddle lunge. But she went for his phone, yelling, "You can't film me without consent." And that was it. He calmly turned her around and clipped the cuffs on with a click that echoed like thunder. The taller one tried to run and tripped over a cooler, landing in a puddle of Sprite. Gasps. Giggles. Someone dropped a cupcake. The crowd didn't jeer. No one was cruel. We were just stunned. This wasn't about loud music or kids being disrespectful. This was about control. About 2 women who thought the world was their private suburb. As they sat on the bench handcuffed, damp, and fuming, the taller Karen hissed, "I'll sue. I know people." Darnell smiled. "So do I." They were booked for assault and disorderly conduct. Later we found out they had multiple complaints filed against them, not just here, but at the community pool, the library, even the dog park. Apparently, these 2 had been local terrors for years. The city put them on a behavior probation list. You know it's bad when you get flagged by name in the Parks Department's internal memo. But the best part? A week later, Bree got a handwritten apology from the city's Parks and Rec office and a voucher to rent the same park again for free. She framed the letter. Jules painted "Free Jules" on a t-shirt with a cartoon Karen being dragged away. And as for me, I still think about that click of the cuffs sometimes when the neighborhood gets too quiet. Justice has a sound, folks. And sometimes, it's metal. 2 days after the incident, a curious thing happened. An email landed in my inbox, subject line in all caps, "Cease and desist or face lawsuit." Guess who? Yep, Karen 1 had tracked me down through a mutual neighbor and sent me a shaky PDF filled with typos, threats, and something she called a formal lawsuit intention notice. I burst out laughing. Even Bree peeked at the screen and snorted. Did she seriously spell defamation as deflamation? The letter accused me of slander, media endangerment, and wait for it, emotional sabotage. Let that sink in. Meanwhile, her sister had doubled down, posting a poorly edited rant video on Facebook titled, "My Side of the Park Attack," where she claimed the teens had lured them into a setup ambush with trap cupcakes and weaponized pop music. She ended the video with, "My husband knows a lawyer." Well, turns out the only thing her husband knew was how to quietly distance himself. Within a week, he filed for separation. Yeah, the internet noticed that update too. As for their so-called lawsuit, Darnell passed it along to a city attorney friend who actually burst into laughter mid-phone call. he said. Tell your niece she's got more legal standing with her lemonade stand than they do with this thing. In the weeks that followed, Bree's story spread far beyond our little suburb. A local news station picked it up. Then it hit TikTok. Then Reddit. There were memes, fan art. Someone even animated the moment Karen slipped on the cooler. We were internet famous, which, surprisingly, helped Bree launch her own mini baking business. She called it Cuffed Cupcakes. Every treat comes with a pink candy handcuff on top. And the Karens? They eventually moved to a gated community across town, where, according to whispers on the HOA forums, they're already banned from the clubhouse after an incident involving a pickleball tournament and a chihuahua. So yeah, maybe karma doesn't wear a badge. But sometimes, she shows up to a sweet 16 in the form of a plainclothes cop and walks two entitled sisters straight into the back of a cruiser. And hey, if you ever get threatened with a fake lawsuit for defending a kid's right to dance in the sunshine, just remember, the truth has a way of snapping back. If you like this story and want more jaw-dropping drama served with sweet revenge and sprinkles of justice, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel because Karen's season never ends. I caught her red-handed Karen, our self-appointed HOA enforcer, standing in my private pool shed with a flashlight and rubber gloves. She jumped when I yanked open the door. I'm just inspecting your chlorine levels, she snapped. What? Let me be real clear. I didn't invite her. I didn't authorize her. And she sure as hell wasn't part of any safety board that allowed her to break into my locked shed at 7 in the morning. The air was thick with bleach and tension. I could still hear the click of her cheap sandals echoing against the concrete floor, like she owned the place. My pool shed is tucked behind a locked gate on private property, and she had the gall to break in without notice, without permission, and without a damn clue. Why? Because Karen claimed I was storing illegal amounts of chlorine tablets. She said the fumes were dangerous to the neighborhood pets. Mind you, this is the same woman who lets her poodle take a dump in everyone's lawn and leaves it steaming in the sun. I took a breath, shaky, annoyed. Karen, are you seriously in my shed right now? She crossed her arms like I was the criminal. As HOA vice chair, I have the right to. No, you don't. Now here's the kicker. That shed? It didn't just hold pool chemicals. It also held my brother's emergency responder gear. See, he's a retired police captain, tough as nails, built like a linebacker, and still sharp as ever. And guess who'd been living in the pool house for the past few months while recovering from knee surgery? Yep, Captain Raymond Marks. Karen had no idea she'd just trespassed into the lion's den. As she babbled about HOA bylaws and public health hazards, Ray stepped out of the pool house, towel slung over his shoulder, eyebrow raised. His presence alone made the air shift. You could practically hear her mouth clench shut. Ma'am, he said in that slow, deliberate voice cops use right before something goes sideways. What are you doing in my brother's locked facility? She blinked, swallowed. 2M with the HOA, he's storing unsafe chemicals. Ray nodded. And you entered the structure. How? Silence. He turned to me. Did you invite her? Nope. Did you give her a key? Hell no. And that's when Karen made the fatal mistake. She reached for a large container labeled chlorine shock and lifted it like it was a bomb about to explode. See? She screeched. Too much chlorine. This is a violation of. Ray calmly reached to his belt. Old habits die hard. And even in retirement, he never stopped carrying his stun gun. He gave her one last warning. Put that down. She didn't. ZZT crack. The sound echoed across the backyard like a firecracker at a funeral. She let out a scream, half insult, half disbelief as her knees buckled and she collapsed right next to the chlorine she was so worried about. I didn't expect it to go down like that. My jaw dropped. A bird flapped out of the tree behind us, startled. Even the pool filter seemed to pause. Did you just... She reached for a hazardous container while trespassing, Ray said, stepping forward to secure her wrist with zip ties. Refused verbal commands. I've got it on camera. Because of course there were cameras. We installed them after the last time Karen let herself into our backyard to measure fence height violations. Karen laid there, groaning. Her permed hair flattened against the concrete like overcooked ramen. The smell of chlorine mingled with burned ego. And I swear this was just the beginning. When the actual on-duty police arrived, yes, Ray called them himself, they walked up like they were expecting a drunk frat boy, not a 50-something HOA Karen twitching on my pool deck. Officer Silva, young but clearly seasoned, raised an eyebrow when he saw Ray's badge still clipped to his lanyard. "She broke in?" he asked. Ray nodded. "No warrant. No permission. Physically handled chemicals she wasn't trained for." Karen tried to sit up. "I was protecting the community. That chlorine could kill us all." Officer Silva sighed. "Ma'am, you committed criminal trespass. You tampered with private property. And you assaulted a sealed storage space clearly marked as restricted." "I was following protocol," she screamed. "What protocol? The one where you commit a felony before breakfast?" As the cuffs clicked, I felt something was at satisfaction. Relief? Justice? Maybe all three. But you know what hit hardest? That she actually believed she was untouchable. She thought HOA authority gave her the power to do whatever the hell she wanted, no matter the cost. Turns out, karma carries voltage. Still, it wasn't over. Karen filed a complaint against Ray. Said he used excessive force, and that the HOA should press charges against him. Can you believe that? The neighborhood lost its collective mind. Half the board sided with her, claiming Ray traumatized her. The other half quietly applauded. Then came the twist none of us saw coming. The city inspector showed up a week later. Not because of us, but because Karen's own shed had been anonymously flagged for unpermitted hazardous waste storage. Guess what they found? She got cited. Fined. And cherry on top, her vice chair title was stripped when the board voted to remove her for misconduct and abuse of power. Now, she walks past my house with sunglasses on and her dog in a stroller. Won't make eye contact. Won't say a word. Me? I sit by the pool with a lemonade and my brother's stun gun resting on the side table, just in case she forgets where the line is again. Because if she does, zap. A few days after everything went down, a letter showed up at my doorstep, thick envelope, certified mail. I knew right away who it was from. Karen. Or rather, Karen's lawyer. Apparently, she was filing a lawsuit against me, Ray, and the HOA board for emotional distress, unlawful use of force, and character defamation. I stared at that paper like it was written in invisible ink. Emotional distress? She broke into my shed. She grabbed dangerous chemicals. And she got tossed because she refused to follow basic verbal commands. Ray? He didn't even flinch. "Let her sue," he said, flipping through the packet. "I've got 2 decades of training and 10 different camera angles." And Yehe handed it off to a legal contact the next morning. We weren't worried. What we were, though, was done being quiet. So we made copies, sent them to the board. And when the next HOA meeting rolled around, it was standing room only. Folks from every street showed up, some with popcorn, some with cell phones ready to live stream. Karen walked in wearing a neck brace like she'd just come from a car crash. No bruises, no limp, just drama. But when the board revealed the footage of her picking the lock, yanking the chlorine tub, ignoring Ray's warnings, you could feel the room shift. Gasps, a few laughs, even one old guy in the back whispering, "She's toast." The lawsuit, it got laughed out of mediation before it even saw court. The HOA, facing mounting backlash, issued a formal apology to us, restructured their bylaw enforcement policies, and banned Karen from stepping foot onto anyone's property without written consent. She hasn't set foot near my pool shed since. Some folks never learn, but this time, she got hit with consequences that stuck. And me? I learned that having the law and a retired police captain in your side is worth its weight in chlorine tablets. If you enjoyed that twist of karma and courtroom drama, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You never know who's getting hit with a lawsuit next.